Hello and welcome. I forgot to close my door. Oh my gosh. All over the place right now. Anyway, welcome to Sticks Intern's Office Hours with your host, me, Sticks Intern. It is good to have you all here tonight. And yes, I am excited to see that we have some OGs in the chat. We got Be Easy. We got the Adventures in DeFi Kingdom account. We got Skiller. And that's good. That's good because tonight I'm going to be doing a quick rundown of a couple of things that have happened in the game since about April-ish of this year. And the reason I'm doing that, I'm going to highlight him right now in the chat, is one of my friends on X that, whose content I've consistently liked. He's the right dude. Get it? Yeah. Cleverness of the name, drew me in. So I did like that as well. But he has won a trip, or not a trip, sorry, wrong phrasing. He's won a ticket to the Fort Lauderdale event in the DFK contest. And after talking to this guy, I got to say, he is probably way luckier than me. His luck stat is like off the charts, at least relative to my own, because he's got a history of contest winning. But, he's getting back into the game and wants a primer. So that's what I'm going to give tonight. He's got a lot of good questions. We're going to go over them, and it's going to be good. Before I do that, though, I wanted to point out my bloater here, studying the compendium of works of H.P. Lovecraft, because it's a demon bloater. Oh, what a bad guy. What a bad guy. All right, I'm getting myself set up here with the questions in one screen and the game in another, and now I will share the game. And we got even more people. Noonie in here. Noonie. That was terrible. You don't need to tell me. Oh my God. Jesus. Shouldn't even try to speak. There we go. So, what really struck me about this was from the way Right Dude was talking in chat, I thought you had left way earlier, right? Like you'd gotten out of the community way earlier than when you said, because I was like, a whole history lesson I'm gonna have to give here, but it's actually not that bad. You said you were in here till May, June, but some of your questions you asked about bonding specifically in the chat, so that means you weren't here when they launched like the pet utility, is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong there. Because if so, that means you're probably around the April-ish time frame. Because that was launched end of April. And so I'll cover from there. So to begin with, I got this. This is the DeFi Kingdom's Medium page. This is what I used as a bit of a cool, good to hear, correct. A bit of a time frame reference is we got the Hero's Best Friend patch. It came out on April 27th. And that's where we're going to start, because Right Dude came in, he checked out his heroes that he had left, and he's like, you know what? What is this bonding thing that people are talking about? What is that? And let me tell you, my friend, bonding is when you take one of your fine stalwart pets. We'll do a little filtering here. Fine stalwart pets, such as this bloater snail, any of these others, and you'll see that each of mine here say equipped, right? And what that means is that they are all equipped to a hero. And so you can see in the top left part of the cards, their partner. And so that is the hero to which these pets are equipped. So I can see here, this is my favorite hero, Galforn Pharaohbraid. He's a mythic shapeshifter ninja. And since you were here till early this year, I don't have to go through all the classes they added, which is, thank you very much. That one's always a pain to go over all the background info on that. But yeah, he's got this guy here, right? The stag is his partner. And the reason the stag is his partner is because he is a forager. And the stag here is a foraging stag. And we got the clutch collector. So when they launched Pet Utility, it came with the profession gathering quests, which is what you're familiar with, what you had the whole time since DFK launched, or like pretty soon after, I should say. It was the foraging, the gardening, the mining, and the fishing, right? And that's all we did for a really long time. Now we finally are starting to get some parts of this card filled in. So you see only the clutch collector actually has a description of what's going on. It's like this is going to be increasing your chance of finding a gray pet egg by 63%. The other two are still mysterious, which means they don't do anything yet. We'll figure it out later. When we add crafting, which is what this is going to be like goldsmithing, I think is this one, the ring. And this is the combat bonus. So anytime they have a combat bonus, that's just the sword, right? And for examples of what bonuses these pets give, we get high value fish percentages. You get the same thing on foraging, kind of with high value herbs. This one I really like. It increases the experience gained. So we are, giving our heroes more opportunity to maximize that XP per run and maximize the value of stamina in the process. And then we got this, and also just to show you kind of the variety you can get. Here we have a 2-star fortune seeker, which is the high value fish. And you see over here on the icon, the number of stars shows you the quality. And so it'll be 1 to 3. It can't be 0 stars. It won't show the icon at all. So it's either 1 to 3, 1, 2, or 3. Down here, this is Fortune Seeker for foraging. It's a 3-star. It's 165% compared to this 2-star Fortune Seeker on fishing is only 90%. And even within each star range, it can be a variety. So there's kind of what people have started calling like max roll mythic, because the third is the mythic bonus. So it's the max roll mythic bonus. And our friend Skiller in the chat, he just hit one the other day on a very widely desired trait for these pets to have that I don't recall which one specifically. This one is another favorite among the community. Guys Chosen increases the chance of finding guys tiers. Runic Discovery, if you remember the Moksha runes and the Shiva's runes, those are the level up tools that we need, right? This one increases your chances of finding those. With that one is, in my opinion, highly valuable because, or at least until level cap is, a thing, which that's not even anywhere close to where we are in the time frame. So this is going to be highly valuable for a really long time, in my opinion, because new runes are like the level gating mechanic. So we have Shivas from 1 to 10, and then they fade off over 11 to 20, and then Moksha start up over 11 to 20, and presumably will fade off over 20 to 30, and a new one will be entered. And every time that new one comes in, it's going to be the most sought after item and an item that will not have been farmed for the entire length of the game in the past. And so that'll make Runic Discovery, in my opinion, like a really good long-term pet item, although some people don't like it. There are, arguments against it, which are primarily relativistic. Like comparing it to the other stat bonuses, there are better ones. And so getting back to bonding, once I've equipped a pet to a hero and they go do that quest, it then gives them that bonus. And one other thing to add on this point, it's just easiest to find my ones with pets by filtering by rarity. Again, gotta add one of this guy. Shoot. So you see how they have this green line? It's probably really small on your screen. Just zoom in. So there's this green thin line on the card. Oh, maybe if I do this as well. Just the one. Yeah, that's good. That indicates like that your pet is fed. And so if your pet is not fed, it will not apply the bonus. It'll be as if the hero does not have a pet equipped. And this is given, some moderate, use for the use case for the items. I view it as kind of like the first amuse-bouche of a very long 18 million course meal in that regard. But it is kind of given some of the items a use in the game, and I'll show you what I mean. And so when we go to the Crystal Vale Market, we are now going to check out this pet treats guy who kind of snuck into the right side of the screen there. And you click the craft pet treats, and the way this works is you select any two of these ingredients, and then a type of treat. And so you can use any two at the ratio that's required depending on the type of treat that you're making. So for a regular pet treat, you need to use four, like whatever the number on the numerator starting for each of these is. So two milkweed or one sailfish, and they kind of roughly correspond to the drop rates, but it's my experience that they don't correspond to the gold value very well at the vendor. So what I typically did for a while was I was like selling off king pincers and I think it's shaggy caps is the one. Those are the 100 gold items for at the vendor, and so I'd just sell those to the vendor, and then I'd take it and I'd go buy iron scale and lantern eye at the decks, which usually sold for like right around its vendor price because people apparently arbitrage that. I didn't I don't see the demand for it in DFK, but people do arbitrage it, so it stays really close to that 5 gold price, and you could get a lot more of the pets. Basically, you could get 20x the value, I think, or 5 times the value, I should say, from selling this and using it on iron scale and lantern eye. But I'm digressing there. Back to the treats. The difference between the regular and the regular pet treat and the premium pet treat is that the regular only lasts for 3 days, so you're doing it more often, and the premium lasts for 10 days. The premium is a bit more expensive. It doesn't, it's more expensive per day if you math it out on most of the items, but I prefer the premium pet treats because they give you 2% bonus XP on top of whatever you're getting. And one thing I also forgot to mention with the pets is that every pet does give a little boost of XP. So it doesn't need ones with the experience boost as their trait. It stacks, and then if you get this 2% from the premium, it also stacks. So you're getting a good amount of XP for your quests. And then I will attempt to show you how this was done, or so I show you how this works in action. I'm just doing a quick refresh so I can try to avoid any JSON errors caused by my usage of helper. I don't think there would be, but I'm trying to run a show here. So I had 31 active quests. That's a good amount. I'm just going to select one here because I see I have that one with the pet and a bunch without. So this will be a good example. Working through my MetaMask transaction. The button is clickable. All right. While we wait for that to pend, so what I'm going to show you here is how it's displaying the effect of having a pet on your hero when you're doing the questing. And then I know another thing that you mentioned was the level 10 versus level 1 profession quests. And I will get into the difference there, but I will be upfront. It may be disappointing upon first brush to someone who left and is coming back. I will be, just frank about that. So here we see this is a hero without a pet, right? And it just had actually a pretty good haul. Honestly, this guy kind of boofed it, if I'm being straight with you, because he just blew it. But either way, the way it displays is here. You see that he does have this pet. It shows you the pet's bonus, which in this instance is triggering me because it looks like he found multiple of the frost drums. Yeah, just the 2.5 gold little shit heel herbs. My other heroes without pets even outperform him on the frost drums. Just savagery. But either way, if we hover over this little eye that appears next to the XP, we'll see that he actually would have been even further behind the rest of the pack if he weren't using a premium pet treat and he's using a common pet, which gives you a really small 4% rarity bonus. And that's probably a big part of the reason why his pet, didn't really do much for him here, is because it's common pet, sure, but he is getting more XP than he otherwise would have, even though he did not perform well this run compared to his peers. Hello, Wowie. Glad you could make it. I might have to. Did you get my ETH that I sent you? Because like, I'd be really sad if you didn't. Not for you, mostly for me. But yeah, I'd be sad. Either way, glad to have you here. Doing a quick run through of some recent updates to DeFi Kingdoms, and we just covered pets, bonding, feeding, bonuses, and now we're going to cover how to actually equip a pet because I had one that needed equipping, a hero that we just saw a few minutes ago. So it's the perfect example. Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that, Wowie. I was actually worried for a second. Very good. So I got Ront Whitewoods here. It's a level 10 Night Wizard. He doesn't have a pet. We're going to flip card, confirm he's a minor. That's why he doesn't have a pet. All right. So this is equally good learning point. Mining, the profession level 10 quests for mining are not yet out. And the reason for that is because of how it's really tied to the tokenomics. In my opinion, that mining is kind of that quest that was unlock your locked power token early, and that's still what it is. But that's obviously the most unsustainable quest. Like, that is not going to be a quest that exists in that form when DFK is a few years old, because Crystal Veil won't have anything to unlock. There, you'll be getting nothing, right? Um, so that is something that there's a necessity down the road for them to change it, and I think that they're going to start displaying what that's going to look like when they eventually do implement the mining quest. Now, there has been some kind of gripe in the community about the fact that they haven't got to it yet because miners can't get that bonus experience that foragers, fishers, and gardeners are getting. And that's a legitimate gripe, but the team's response has been that we are prioritizing the combat system and the equipment system, and getting that into a place where we have something playable for you guys, even if it's coming out in phases. And we will get to combat in a minute here because that is really exciting. So that's why he doesn't have a pet. That's probably also why this guy doesn't have a pet. Yep. All right. Now that's all making sense. So let's just find a random one that doesn't have a pet. Boom. This Legionnaire. Oh, he's questing. How you do I have animations off? Oh, that's another thing. They updated the art. I don't know if this was before. I think this was after you left. So like, look at these dudes are now active in questing. How crazy is that? This blew people away at 3XP. So maybe you did see it because I feel like that was before. Maybe not. I don't know. But that the art really blew people away at the booth at 3XP. I remember that. Like, look at this bard. Look how stupid she looks mining. What is that? What even is that? What are you doing? I think I have a legendary dragoon that needs a pet because I just summoned him the other day. What do you know? And he's also hard at work in the gardens. So we'll let Jamut keep going. Uh, uh, really blowing it on this pet equipping demonstration. So yeah, the gardening dudes are somewhat annoying because I do run the helper AI, and so it seems like they are always questing. It's hard to do anything about that, but that's just personal on me to do something. This guy works. Erroneous Sacred Main. You're gonna get a pet, even though you do not deserve one. Forager. Okay, maybe you do deserve one. Let's see. So I click this bond button, and if my computer weren't being such a shyster, it would be pulling up a screen, like an overlay. Wow, there! I just had to finally. I had to capitulate, and then the price pumped. What do you know? Always. That's always what happens to me. Anyway, you guys are waiting for the day I capitulate Jewel. All of you, everyone but Right Dude, maybe. Right Dude now too. All of you are waiting for the day I capitulate Jewel. It's gonna fucking blow. But I'm never gonna do it. So I got this leaf right here. This is a foraging pet. We're going to put this bonus bounty, gain 81% chance to receive an extra item while rolling, onto our Legionnaire here. So we got the option, as you saw before, with the regular and the premium treats. So I clicked it, and now the default, what it does is it takes me back here, and if I wanted to select more people, I could go and like queue them all up, and down here in the bottom of my screen, it says View Equipping Queue. And so that is what I click when I'm done going through all of my heroes and picking out who I want to have a pet, who is worthy of companionship. I got no more one-liners. I'm gonna have to refresh the page after I do this, but I gotta get through it. I gotta show you. Get through this. Diva, help me. Oh, I am just livid right now. If this just is dogging me like this, I'm doing it. I gotta do it. Bad content, everyone. I'm sorry. Had to be done. I think this is StreamYard. It doesn't do this when I'm by myself. I've heard ALP complain about it too. Not complain, sorry. Rightfully raise the issue. That's what I've heard ALP do. Okay. So, that's not who I had. Where's my? Are you a forager? No, here it was Aronia. That's right. That's right. Come here. Bond. Yes. Okay. It's going nice. Premium treat. View equipment queue. It is struggling with the equipping queue. I don't know why. Let me let me stop share for a second and just see if that like helps it get through its brain. What's going on? It's not. It's not doing it. All right. I will do a personal demo of that on my phone. But anyway, you click a button basically, and it applies the pet to all of the heroes that you have queued. Ah, again, the capitulation theme continues. So I click that button, hit confirm, and now she's going to have that pet and that bonus. And when you first equip it, it automatically does the feeding. And so you'll see how I needed to pick the treat. It does take one from your inventory, burn it right up when you do that. So next, I mentioned the Profession 10 quests. I think that's the next thing to cover. It's pretty simple. So foraging, fishing, and gardening each got quests that give higher item reward rolls and more XP to the heroes. And you can do them if your profession skill is level 10. So there's the profession skill and the level. You don't need to be hero level 10. You just need to have profession skill level 10, and you can go right ahead and do these. And for foraging and fishing, I was on a stream right after these came out. They got about like a 1.6 ish, I think, if I'm recalling correctly, boost to their XP. And gardening got like a 2.5. So gardening, which was kind of nerfed before the Hero's Best Friend update, it's kind of the most efficient XP available now, according to general community understanding. And another reason gardening is so popular is because that pet bonus I mentioned earlier from that my homie hit the max roll of max roll mythic baby was Power Surge, and that one increases your jewel and crystal token rewards from gardening, which is gardening is like the permanent version of mining, and it's funded by the quest pool, which is funded by all of us spending. Yes, and you got Rabito in here. He's in the mythic squad, and he's saying gardening is super buff now, and that is 100% right. And so, I think it's fair to anticipate that mining, when it does come out, I think it's going to be very different than what it is now, because I don't think it's going to be like gardening. If anything, I think maybe it will, but just for the theme. But I don't think there's a reason for it to be. But it also might be that this whole idea never gets fully built out because the team is working on expeditions, and so that's kind of the future for questing is a version of it that is easier to, I think, manage without having to constantly be on top of your every 8-hour cycle doing the quests, making sure that they right when their stamina refills, you're doing it again, because it'll be kind of like a staking mechanic, for lack of a better word, and without understanding the actual details of the implementation because I'm not on the team. It sounds like you're going to put the hero in, and it's going to do work for as long as it can, and like it'll be equivalent-ish to what it would gain at its current like stamina recharge rate if you kept doing it manually. It'll just collect the rewards until you take it out, is kind of my understanding of that. And it might be that when the expeditions launch, they come with mining, and we never really care about this. It might be. I don't know. That's just pure speculation from me on that last bit. So yeah, these three: foraging, fishing, and greenskeeping. They've all got level 10 profession quests. Mining does not. They are sad. But one day they'll be really happy. And expeditions is something that the team has been talking about in the AMAs a lot. That's all I got on the professional level 10 quests. Really, really nothing major. The big thing about that update was that it came with the pets, and that was all of the info that I just covered, all of that stuff. And another thing you asked about was equipment. So this is kind of going to be kind of my segue from the pets to the combat, because equipment is what ties these things together. Your pet is kind of like the first piece of equipment that we got in DFK that we could put our heroes on. And so bonding a pet, when you bond it to a hero, it's equipped to that hero. It's giving that hero buffs. It shows up on the equipment page. One difference between pet equipment and other equipment is that they've announced recently that other equipment is going to have a durability system kind of mechanic, where your fire sword of ice is going to just, you're going to use it, and then one day it's going to break, and it's like, there's a crack in the ice, so you can repair that though, and so it can get repaired up, and you continue using your fire sword of ice, but it never quite forgets that fracture, and one day it breaks, cracks a little bit, starting to get a little that star pattern, but we got super glue, we can fix the fire sword of ice one more time. We go back out, we're killing things with it, and bam, it shatters, and it's irreplaceable and can't be repaired again. And so that is kind of what they're doing with the whole equipment system for all equipment other than pets, because we don't want a game that encourages driving pets to their death. I think is the reasoning there. But it's going to have a durability system where it can be repaired multiple times, and that there might be different kind of parameters to how those repairs work. I don't know if it'll like go all the way to full strength again, or what it would even mean, if there's any impact if it's not like fully repaired versus like half broken versus broken, or if just it goes from unusable to repaired, dead, or something like that. But that is the general gist of how equipment is going to work. And just to go back to our heroes here, when we go manage equipment, right? So that's where our pet one goes. We currently have slots for main hand, offhand, set 1, and then main hand, offhand, set 2. And so the speculation there from the community, some of the leading community members, shout out at OX Wowie and DFK Pesk and so many more. But I've heard them talking the most about these two, speculating about these two things, and sometimes they just get crazy ideas where I'm like, Maddie, what are you thinking? Notice that sentence structure there. Anyway, the way I think it's gonna work is you're gonna have these switchable equipment sets, to where if you're going into a game, you're kind of committed to the heroes you have, but with those heroes, you could have a main hand set and an offhand set, or not a main set and a backup set, and maybe you use a turn to switch between them if you need to, but it could allow you to pivot to something you're seeing on the other team, that your first weapon set doesn't have a bonus effect that you need, maybe, or something, however gameplay ends up shaping out. But I think that's going to be kind of like the tool for reacting to seeing something unexpected on the other side, or maybe something expected but just not what your main set is built for. And then for armor, it does look like for now we've got just kind of these universal sets of armor where it's one piece and it looks like it's going to be the entire shoulders, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, if you will, from your armor piece there. They haven't committed one way or the other, even whether this set is the full and final set. I know that there is internal push on the team to add pants to the heroes. Not sure if that's just a meme, but it could be a meme that's indicative of internal conversations. So we'll see what ends up shaping up. What we do know is going to come out real soon is amulets, and that's this one down here, and that alone is kind of its own meme because they promised amulets, right, just probably shortly after you joined in October 2021 the first time, right? And that's something that it's like they think they promised it, and then they're like, all right, how do we make it happen? And then it was like, oh shit, we gotta do so much shit to make that happen. And now we're finally there. The shit is nearly done to make it happen because amulets are officially coming out, and that airdrop that they promised so long ago is going to happen with the launch of the next big patch, which is called the Void Hunts patch. And the way Void Hunts are described is awesome. Really, you know what? I should just go to YouTube and show you this announcement video because I want to watch it. If I turn off the audio is important. I think if I turn off echo cancellation, it should pick it up. But if you don't have sound, let me know. Void Hunts DeFi Kingdoms. Oh yeah, of course. The Jewelers Guild is just right there at the top. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right, wait a second. I stopped my share screen. Why did I do that? Why do I do the things that I do? I don't even know why I do the things that I do. So, I hope to God you can hear this. I can hear it. So, if you can't, please let me know in the chat. Negative. Oh, that's so fucking annoying. I don't know how to make that work. It used to work, but now it doesn't work. Either way, I'll send the link in the chat. Because the video, I just talk over the audio then. The audio of that part's really cool. Sad days. But either way, this has been an announcement for what you saw here is we're going through, we got the Mad Boar Hunt, right? So these dudes, we got Little Boar, and Big Mama Boar with the 3 mushrooms. They've gone mad because they've been tainted by what's this new kind of presence in the kingdoms that we're just learning about now called the Void. And what we see on the right here, and it kind of half taken off the screen, is they're kind of this is the turn order in combat. So we got Little Boar going, Mama Boar's going, and then the priest and the archer are going. And there's even a little class icons next to them that I just now noticed for the first time. That looks like a little priest icon, and that's a little archer icon. That's kind of cool. And so this is going to be the first of several kind of PvE experiences that they're rolling out where it's going to be kind of like a rotating quest. And the first one they're doing is this boar hunt, which is, the announcement had me rolling laughing because my first thought was Eric Cartman, now we got to go out to the forest and hunt boars. And then once we get to the max level, we can fight the guy. And then they go and they kill the guy. And then they're like, what do? We play the game. Oh my God. And so it's like, it's ironic because we got boar hunts. Now, what do we do now? We play the game. So I'm looking forward to this. Is the first kind of PvE thing that they're doing. And on a more meta-analysis level, what's really happening here is why did they start with just boars, right? Why is it just boars? That's lame, right? Oh. And it's because what they're doing is they're iterating on this idea. So this is the very first thing that's going to use the combat engine. right? And we're going to actually test how, their checkpointing to the blockchain works, how the transaction setup works with just these boars. And then when the next Void Hunt rolls out, it's my understanding that their plan is to kind of like implement things on the new one that they've learned from the first one as far as optimizations and I just read your message, DFK. That's funny. Funny timing. But they're gonna roll in new character models basically. So it's like the boars. They're gonna have They have the character models done now. The art's done. Cool. Now we can make like giga boars by taking them and turning them green, or and just buffing their stats. It's a lot easier to add a variation on this existing model than like a wholly new thing. And right now they're going through the process of making all of the first set of enemy things that we're going to eventually go out into the world and fight. And they're introducing them to us as Void Hunts, where for a while what's going to happen is our heroes will go to this new location in the tavern right here. This is kind of like prepping for Void Hunts, is this section right up here. You see the hunts up here. This guy's like, hey man, I got some work for you to do. It's been requisitioned. Their exact directives are still unclear, but we're receiving word from our forward scouts of a great darkness gathering above the pass. All hunters and mercenaries have been called to arms. Right? And so these guys are hunters and mercenaries, and that's going to be our heroes. And the next thing might be, I don't know, void blobs. And then we'll have a void blob hunt. And then, they'll work on the next thing for a month and a half. And then they'll give us the Entmoot hunt, where we got to go take on little trees and big trees. Things like that. But really excited because with the launch of Void Hunts and this first one, the Mad Boar Hunt, they will be dropping amulets. And allow me to go into the Discord and pull up a couple links here. So the first link I want to show you is the Mad Boar Hunt checklist published by DeFi Kingdoms. I almost have it up here on screen. And so on this checklist, we can watch the progress being made on the boar hunts. I would love a bloater hunt. Bloater boars even. Oh, it took me a second to fully process that. Even better. This is a void bloater. Do you get it? He's reading H.P. Lovecraft. It's a void bloater. I was way ahead of that. Or I wanted to make that joke this whole time. Freaking A, I am the void bloater. But either way, here on this is their spreadsheet. They've used this a couple times in the past. You may have been around for a couple of them. I'm not sure. Also, even if you were, I don't know if it's something you would have followed. I was like, I'm in the weeds, obviously. And when this launched, there was a lot less. When the trailer launched, there was a lot less of this filled in green or even yellow than there is now. And basically since August 15th to now, they launched their Holiday wallet integration, which is another huge topic on its own. But for that, I will actually just show another video where I interviewed the CTO from Holiday. It's like a quick half-hour rundown of what they're bringing to DFK, and that's live now, which is pretty cool. I've seen really good reviews on it. They encouraged longtime players to hold off because it is kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? They're blazing a new trail with this kind of thing, and they don't want to like overload the tech just on the number of heroes that a lot of the existing community would bring to bear in there, and kind of like let the new players try out the sandbox. But I've gone in there with just an account that has a couple Jewel in it and played around with it in a couple ways, and it works really well. So check out my Holiday video for that. But that just launched a couple weeks ago now. So I was about to say the other day, but almost 2 weeks ago on the 7th. And they've since been launching tutorials. And while I'm going through this, just answer this question for me. Did you ever see the combat testing grounds? Because if you didn't, I will explain explain what's going on with those. We've been able to test it for a while. And either way, so what got me really excited last week was the combat engine is in the front end is in ready, and front end is pretty far down on their list. It's kind of like in order from left to right. And like when the last time they did one of these, it goes like front end. Once front end's done, it's like API testing. Blah, blah, blah. Unless they like have a problem in testing, but it's still, then it's like brata. You know, it's still, these three are way faster than these four. As far as the top, B through E are slow as F, F through I are fast as F. And so we are getting close. We have the combat engine in testing on the API, and then they're going to do the actual testnet, and then it's launched and boom. So that's pretty cool. After the combat engine is the equipment implementation. So they are going to be launching, in addition to the amulets, loot items that will drop from the Void Hunt boars. And they are going to be weapons from the kind of teaser art that we've gotten so far. There was a teaser in this trailer. If I scroll right on ahead, right here. Yeah. So there's speculation about what these things are. People are thinking, oh, that's a wand with like something coming out of it. And other people have been like, no, that's a berserker axe. Look how big it is, right? This is pretty. This looks like a bow, or yeah, I'm pretty surprised if that's not a bow. People are speculating that this one is like a fist weapon kind of claw, right? Which I actually do see that. If it's not that, then maybe like a focus, right? The offhand kind of orbs that magicians wield. So these are kind of like the teasers of what the weapons are going to be looking like. And then these are going to be the three different types of amulets. We got Skali's Eye, Tal's Curio, and Elgrin's Aegis, depending on how you like to pronounce it. These are not going to be the only amulets, I should clarify. They are going to be the amulets that drop to the contest holders, or the contestants, I should say, who were eligible for when they made the promise ages ago. And also they did another leveling event very recently where you like every time you leveled up a hero, you got a certain number of entries depending on what level your hero was. And then there was a bonus if they were above level 10, because obviously it takes a lot more XP and it probably a more dedicated gamer. So good, the kind of like reward structure there for the leveling event. And hopefully a lot of new players and old can get the benefit of these amulets, and maybe it'll draw some old players in. And with your luck, man, I would not be surprised if you won 2 of them somehow. Oh, also, I'm happy to ignore that first part of this sentence where ADFK says sorry to Shill, but this is actually huge in my opinion. I've just been like fucked at work. They are in the beta testing right now with like a small group of dedicated community members of their PvE kind of RPG, and I'm not the best one to describe it, but like I've listened to their podcast a couple times, and it's games that you're familiar with where it's like kind of old school, or where you're dealing a lot with text boxes and there's static images, but you're kind of going from place to place along this kind of PvE storyline, and it's going to use your DeFi Kingdoms heroes from your wallet. And it's also, I don't recall the details on this one, or if there are, because I've been like beating myself up for not following this enough. They are tied in with the in-game items in some way too, in a way that is I think symbiotic to the game, where I think it's going to be the raffle system, and there's a lot of focus by the teams on both ends on making sure that it's symbiotic and not parasitic. And I'm really excited to see that fully fleshed out more and grow from there. But the ADFK is launching a third-party game that uses your DeFi Kingdoms heroes very soon, and that is news that has developed since your last time here. Okay, here we go. Raffle ticket integration. That's what I thought it was. So the DeFi Kingdoms raffle ticket system, you do duels here in the tavern, and when you win the duels, you go to the castle and you talk to this shitheel laying on the couch, and you go enter these raffles. And do I want to enter any with my one raffle ticket? I aped
all of my tickets into one of the large raffles. I can get a bunch doing war, whatever. I didn't win it though. Classic. That's classic intern right there. Thank you. Thank you very much for reminding me to mention this, because I have meant to mention it, and like this is why I gotta write notes before my streams. But either way, I was in the boar hunts. They're gonna have weapons. They're gonna use stamina. One key point that they've mentioned in the AMAs is that if you fail, which is apparently not unexpected, right? It's not expected to fail, but it's not unexpected for you to fail either. You will be able to, retry the quest again without, needing more stamina. A couple, I don't know if there's a limit, but it won't be like one stamina use, you fail, sucks for you, better luck tomorrow, come back next time. It's going to be like, keep trying, buddy, you can get it. You can get there, buddy. And then if you fuck it, I give up, then your stamina will get used. Like if you give up entirely and exit the instance or whatever it's called, where you're in that, series of battles that you've lost on a streak. No, wait, did you lose my sound for a second there? Oh, sorry about that. I hope you didn't miss anything important. And I expect you to know if you did. Where was I? So that's combat coming out, starting with the boars, and with that goes the equipment. Whew! I've been going here. Let me go back to your chat. Bonding we covered, equipment defuck. As far as equipment bonuses, we don't really know what those are going to be yet. Or at least if we do, I don't know yet. I haven't heard too many people with solid knowledge on that yet. And then what else was there? Guilds. Oh, Plans for the Future and guilds. I think I did kind of cover Plans for the Future sprinkled in. We got the expeditions. We got the continued void hunts with the new character models coming out. That's going to eventually lead to a travel system is the goal. So if I go back to the main map, right, we have this little town of Crystal Vale. And over in Serendale, however, we have... I'm going to switch to Clayton just to emphasize the point. We only have this area right around the castle here in Crystal Vale on the map. But if we go to Serendale, which hey, maybe they shouldn't have prioritized getting this part of Serendale out so early. Hindsight's a bitch, ain't it? Can't be upset about it though. We got much more area around the castle, right? And we can kind of see the vision for what's to come with Serendale. They're probably going to expand the map out once again, which they did originally with Serendale. And for some of these lands, I don't know if it's all of them, or because they did not release all of the land for Serendale yet, is my understanding. Check me, fam, from DFK if I'm wrong on that one. So I do think this map will expand again. Either that or not all of these lands are yet owned. And they're building to a travel system where your guys are going to go across the world, right? And you might have to go over here to get the, raspberries of Raz. And then you might have someone else over here getting this certain fish that only swims in this little circle, right? And in doing that, in sending your guys there, we're speculating that you're going to have to fight someone, or you might have to risk an encounter with some monsters or some other magical beings or what have you, typical gaming stuff. And you'll see that this land is kind of varied, right? It is nondescript for the most part, but there are parts that have this little kind of fort, right? And there's the pink tree. What's going on with the pink tree? So there's kind of these little landmarks already in here, and it's speculated that if you have land near an important landmark where people are coming and going a lot, you're going to be generating income from your maintenance of that land and making it usable for players. And this is my speculation, is that a big benefit of your land is going to be a radius of protection where people have less chance of a bad encounter, or maybe an aura of awesomeness where people have a better chance of a good encounter when they're traveling to and from your land. And so that is what I'm thinking is going to happen there. That's why land maintenance will be important, is because it gives a buff to your use of the area. And I'm primarily focused on land as a guild mechanic rather than an individual mechanic, because I think that's where it's going to really shine. Whether that's one piece of land or like owning a segment of the map entirely is another question. I don't think I've heard enough people in our community talk about yet. Just like all the talk's been about what to do with just my one piece of land, and no one's really gotten to the meta conversation yet of how do I control the northwest column, or all of the territory, all of the land. Actually, yeah, this should be WoWeville. I'm now realizing, because it's got the pink tree. Like, so first of all, why is there a land plot called Serenity in Serendale that ruins the wordplay? But either way, it's right next to the pink tree, so it's probably super valuable for no reason other than WoWe will buy it off you. Willing buyer, market price, consensual transaction. And so pivoting off that to guilds, there isn't a lot of in-game guild, I don't know, kind of anything, I should say, yet. Because at the moment, right, there's not a lot to do in-game. And it's I would agree that if I were making the decision, that would be pretty low on the priorities list after clearing out promised debt and getting like a game loop of where like your tokens have something that players need to use them on, and so a reason to go get them in the first place, and something that's fun. That's something to make it all worth it from an entertainment point of view, and they're working on getting those core elements in place first, and I agree with it. But in the absence of that, and in the presence of like what has been a really involved community, there have arisen many just de facto guilds, whether it's discords or a lot of them organized in discords, but it's what's the word I'm looking for here? It's mostly just speculation, conversation right now, and teaching, I would say, is the main thing that guilds do at the moment. And so there's Unity Guild is a guild, and they have partnered with Mythic Squad, which is my guild, to kind of like merge. And Unity has a really good, by all accounts, I've actually never used it myself, but everyone I've talked to uses, just because like it didn't exist when I was learning the game, and I've literally been obsessed. But their teaching content is apparently really good, and if you go into the Mythic Squad Discord server, people will be happy to direct you to whatever you need. Now, that said, I don't want to, pretend like Mythic Squad and Unity is the only act out there. But you saw ADFK over there. They're the ones I mentioned with the game that is being built on DFK chain and using the DeFi Kingdom's assets. They have a guild which is very active, and it has a lot of really bright people in the community are in that guild, and they purportedly have a secret chat that is very fire. I haven't seen it, obviously, because it's secret, so I don't know if it's even real until someone, Cough Matty, sends me a screenshot from it, hopefully one day, to prove he's my friend and that it exists, mostly that it exists. So they got a good one. Other than them, there's also, I'm just scrolling. I think I'm in most of their Discords here. So there's the Jewelers Guild. There are a couple of homies who were here very active early in the game, and then most dropped off, but they stayed connected enough, a couple of core guys, that they saw it coming back, they got the bug again, and they're producing good content. Shout out to Dags and Mega. And then also, there's also Primetime Guild, I think is one. Although they changed their name recently, and I don't know if I'm mixing up the change name. And shout it out in the chat if you're in another guild. I'm blanking now on any others. I'm blanking now on any others, but I would say, Mythic Squad, I love what they do. They have done events in the past where it's a kind of like an egg kraken event where you Path to Gaia, thank you, Worm, Yeah, so I was saying the old name. That's right. So yeah, Path to Gaia. Totally lost my train of thought. Eternal Zenith, thank you, Brovia. So Brovia is in Eternal Zenith. So there are lots of guilds, and as Zabu mentioned, the DN guild is always quite good. Pick up DN coin whenever you want. If you want to know where it's listed, check these nuts. Anyway, I like the Crystal Kraken and Egg Kraken events that Mythic Squad does. Basically, Crystal Kraken is one of our the alphas, is the highest rank in the guild, and it's called Ogre. He puts up all of his Gen 0 summons for people to buy for like a little less than the cost, but what happens is you sign up for like a potential outcome, and each of them can have mutations, right? So it's like someone's like, oh, I'll pay like 40 crystal or whatever it is, maybe it's 50 for the chance that it's a priest. And I'll pay for the wizard slot. No, and then someone else is like, oh, I want that summoner slot, right? And so in that way, it kind of covers the expenses of doing it, but it makes it cheaper for everyone else, to like kind of get a chance to get his Gen 0 summons, which are apparently well paired up to have advanced ability mutations and elite, or not elite, but advanced ability mutations, which is really good when you are trying to kind of really get in deep on the speculation about how PvP is going to work and what heroes are going to be most desirable in that format. But that alone is something that a lot of people talk about. And so the last thing that you really need to know in DFK is that there's content on YouTube almost every single night of the week. Except for some reason last night Bogside Chats didn't go on. That's a little Bogside smack for all my regular listeners. And so Tuesday night we typically have Bogside Chats, and those are three guys who've been podcasting since pretty close to launch. And I say podcasting like it's official. They've had their channel, and they've been a pretty steady stream of entertainment for me personally. And of late, I've picked up a new segment where I just talk smack on their ideas, and it's a hit. Both in that the community likes it, and I sometimes get a rise out of them. So I try not to be too mean though, because that's not what I want. I do enjoy their content. And then About Life Podcast is another YouTube channel I would recommend. ALP in the building. He is really well liked in the community, and he's constantly on there making videos and really talking people through how to summon. And like, it doesn't matter how green a person is and new, he will have them on his channel, and he will tell them whatever they want to know, even if it's something that I'm not saying this in like he's repeating content a lot. I'm just saying that like he is willing to work with anyone and teach them, and in that process I think he's done a really good job benefiting the community. We've also got Candor Gander, the person who got me started in streaming by inviting me to his Friday night DFK. It was initially like a debate point style game, which was awesome, but it's just kind of turned into like the summit where like most of the DFK streamers and people who are active in the community get together and talk about issues, and sometimes people argue over it, sometimes Sarge hands out points. Every time it's a lot of fun, so I would highly recommend like his channel, A Candor Gander. If you catch nothing, if you like don't have time to catch everything, whenever you can catch his streams with a big chunk, like not a big chunk, with like a good number of people on it, you're gonna get just a really, really awesome experience most of the time, in my opinion. We also have like a Monday night show is probably the most popular one typically, with the community legend Crypto Grady and Christian Peter. But Crypto Grady is in a conference right now, so nothing banging out of him this past Monday. Man, the week that I'm telling everyone about the streams is the week that everyone's slacking off, except me and KP. Crazy. And then tomorrow night there should be a Mythic Squad stream on their YouTube channel. So that's like the three guys who are kind of the seed that started the guild. They have a lot of people on and just kind of derp around, talk about DeFi Kingdoms, do some fun DGen summons, and they're really good to watch.
And like I said, focus on education and all the guilds. They're just talking about how to play the game, how to get an understanding of what these hero cards do. And then Bullish Brovia, who I mentioned his guild before, he started streaming recently. He's done a really great job of hustling and getting on members of the DFK team onto his shows for content, and especially ones that we don't normally hear from very often, which has been pretty cool. I've liked that. And Wednesday, so earlier today we had the Brown Gent. He does trading on DFK assets, and he also talks the game, but really his focus is on trading. After me, the guys who are making that sweet game I mentioned, they're going live, ADFK. And then also Monday nights you got Wowie. He does a full 5-hour long combat scrupulation chat on Twitch that he then reposts to YouTube every time that DFK team posts one of the skill codices. So we recently got the monk, and we got a nice 4-hour, 59-minute, and 42-second video out of that. It's really deep dive gaming content on focused on valuing the skills in the codex as, for potential use as a subclass or as a primary class, and just in general, I think he's really taught a lot of the less gaming focused and more crypto focused members of our community how to think about gameplay mechanics, who they maybe haven't done that as much as you or I have in our years of playing video games. And that's something that I've been really impressed by. Wow, he's really good at it, and he's really good at not just laughing at questions where I would be like, dude, bro, wait, have you ever played a game before? So I do give him mad props for that, his self-control there. And oh yes, I did mention the Jewelers Guild, but thank you, Rabito. They're also really good streamers. They've been going a couple times a week. You get Dags will do summons randomly for a short stream, and then they'll have a longer one with him and his co-host Mega. And I don't maybe I've co-host wrong. Maybe Mega's the guy in charge there. The name kind of would suggest it. But either way, they do a stream together at least once a week. The day is somewhat variable. I'm not sure. But that's basically a rundown of what's been going on in DeFi Kingdoms. And really what blows my mind is that just a few months ago in April, guys, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just 5 months ago, we didn't even have, level 10 profession quests or pet equipping or any of that shit out. That wasn't until April 27th was that blog post. So it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is not even quite 5 months, and we're, getting pretty close on this boar hunt. I'm anticipating a mid-October release if everything goes rosy, and I'm anticipating a lot of rage in some Discords that I follow if things don't start going rosy. But yeah, that's been that. Right, dude? I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if you're even still here, because you might have had to go, and this has gone a little bit longer than I expected. But if you are, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you felt like it was beneficial. If you are still here, let me know if I can play your song, though, as a send-out. But if I can't, I understand. Because, yeah, I set up my StreamYard so that I could play the track that I made you as okay, perfect, you're the man. So I'm going to just let that play, and thank you all for coming. I do appreciate it.
You're trespassing on my property. Get the hell out of my yard. Hey, JT, let me have the house. JT, let you have my house. Get out of my shit. I want it. You're trespassing on my property. You didn't win in my yard.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that? What the hell is even that? Get everybody out of my yard! candy back. Whip that candy back. Try me, bitch. Whip that try me, bitch.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for sticking around.